back to Extreme Voltage. My name is Team Melconian, and it is March the 21st, 2022. Welcome aboard. This has been some kind of off-season. I tell you what, the season just ended up a few months back, and we are in the midst of one of the most amazing free agency periods I have ever seen in the NFL, let alone your Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, it's been, look, Tom Telesco, heck of a job right now. I like the way we're being aggressive. We jumped right on it. We're going to talk about our free agency splash picks. We're going to talk about our team construction for the 2022 season. We're going to do a quick update on a little debrief from the 2021 season that was, and kind of how it all ended up back in that last game against the dreaded Las Vegas Raiders, and our chance of a playoff spot just slipping away last seconds. That was a tough one to swallow for Charger fans, but I tell you, we've got a lot of great positive news here, and I think the way we're building this up for the 2022 season is looking fantastic. We're going to talk all about that. And guess what? The AFC West is just keeping up with it as well. They're not sitting back. They're not waiting to see what else is happening. This whole AFC West is phenomenal in regards to the offseason and what these teams are becoming. So pretty exciting news. We love having you guys with us, so thank you for jumping back on. Keep subscribing. We appreciate you being a supporter of Extreme Voltage. Tell your friends we want to be the #1 Charger source out here for you. We bring it to you like it is. We analyze these things. We tell you up front what's good, what's bad. We know you're an educated football fan, and we support you, and we appreciate you, and we love what you do for us. So let's start up with a quick recap of our 2021 season, how it all ended up in Las Vegas with that last Charger Raider game. Look, that was tough to swallow. We saw it, we heard it, we felt it. Just a little short. Our defense, specifically our run defense, was lacking all year long, and the same monster came up and reared its ugly head, as they would say. And same problem occurred. We couldn't stop the Raiders' rushing attack, and they literally had a chance to make a nice field goal rather than going in with a tie just because we can't stop the run. I don't care about the whole timeout fiasco or timeout issues or timeout gate that you want to talk about, or some people want to make a big stink about Brandon Staley and calling a timeout and allowing the Raiders for a potential field goal tie. You know what? Could have been, could have not been. Quite honestly, at that point, it really wasn't that crucial. And I say that specifically because we did not stop the run. They drove it down our throats. And I think a lack of a timeout here and there, I think they were still possibly driven that puppy down and kicked a field goal from it regardless. So I don't think that timeout issue was what caused that loss. I think the fact of us not stopping the run did. However, just to be fair, that 4th down and 1 back at our own, inside our own 20-yard line at the time in the early parts of the fourth quarter or third quarter, I forgot now. It's been a little while. That was too early for it, possibly, right? I can easily say that sitting back here after the game and months after the game. Number one, I didn't like the play calling of going for it at the time. I don't think we needed it. I know it's aggressiveness of Staley. I get it. But even if you're going to call that, that's fine. I can still support it. But give me something better than an inside rush, a-gap rush with Austin Eckler, your smallest guy that, pound for pound, he's the strongest guy on the team. I get you. I know he's awesome. The guy's a athletic freak. I love the kid, absolutely. But he is not the one that's going to run that on 4th and 1 there, because they're putting all their bad boys in there. They're going to put all their bad boys in there, and they're going to stop that running attack with a smaller back coming downhill. It's not going to happen. Your chances are not great. Why not in that one? Go ahead and go with a play action on a run. Let Herbert, your guy with the ball, let him run left or right. If he has a chance to get that 1 yard, great. If he doesn't, let him throw a quick outlet pass to one of your big receivers, maybe a Parham, Keenan, Mike. I mean, there's so many different variations of what you can do on that one. Steven Anderson coming out of the backfield. I don't care. Just anybody that is going to give you a little better option than just trying to run up the gut on a 4th and 1 from your own 20-yard line. I don't like it. And that was my biggest complaint is let's get a little more creative on that play call for the 4th and 1s. I've seen it before. I've seen that play before, and it never worked in the past. It didn't work as well either on those short runs with Austin on those 4th down carries. And I can't really specify the game now. It's been a little too long, and I apologize for that. But if you've watched it, You've seen it. We have to get a little more creative on those fourth downs. I'm not saying get super cute and super sexy and out trick yourself. I know sometimes you got to line up and go, and I get that too. However, that wasn't the place to do it. And I don't think at the time we had that offensive line to bang it in there. Anyhow, that's how it ended. It was bitter. It was such an amazing game on Herbert and company. It was actually one of the best games I've ever seen, quite honestly. And unfortunately, it would have been the best game ever if the Chargers hadn't lost it at the end. If that was a win, hey, we've been talking about that for centuries. Anyhow, it is what it is on that one. We're going to move on. I think regardless, just to kind of top it all off here with that, let's say we won that Raider game, right? Let's say it was a tie, and let's say we go in the playoffs. Great. I think we would have done well, and we would have had a shot, and that's all you want, right? You can never dismiss that. We would have had a shot. However, I'm telling you, in those next 3 games that you have to win, the next 3 or 4, where the case is, based on a wild card issue, the lack of the rush defense would have come back and hurt you. The lack of a right tackle protecting you or protecting Herbert would have hurt you just like it did to Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, and the way he got whacked so many times with his pathetic line play and the dominating Rams play on the line, especially in the second half. That's what would have killed you. If you don't, you can only hold up certain weaknesses for so long, right? The rest of the team can only shore up those holes for so long. A good team, a strong team, a well-coached team, which you're going to find in the playoffs, okay? You're not going to get the ones you're going to walk over. The good, strong teams are going to find ways, are going to make the changes necessary to get you at your weakest point. That's the game, right? Find your weakest source and attack it, right? It's not the best plan to find your strongest source and go after him. Let's find the weakest source and let's try to circumvent that. Let's exploit that. And that's what they did against Storm Norton. Okay? Love Storm. I thought he was admirable all season, trying to play up that right tackle spot. And there's some really good games he had, some shaky games, and some terrible games. And that was a terrible game. That let alone that last one was a terrible game. It didn't hurt him this year. He's got the tender. He's got the restricted free agency tender, making just under $1 million. I wish that's me. It's a beautiful salary, and I wish I'm playing. But he's playing it, and he well deserved. Let him get that spot. Let him be a sub player in regards to coming in and being a flex tackle. And I think that's a better spot for him. He has the size, he has the girth. I think he's going to get the skill set, added on with more coaching, and potentially he can be a good substitutional player. But he's not a starter at that level against the Max Crosby, right? You're not going to get that kind of play consistently where he's going to hold his own. It's just not going to happen. Now, Trey Pipkins, I'm going to jump into this before I even go anywhere else with it. Because as of March 21st, 2022, which we're sitting in right now, we don't have a right tackle signed. Right? There's no right tackle except Storm and Trey on the roster. And quite honestly, I was calling for Trey Pipkins last year and the latter part, especially in December. I was like, hey, December, January, put in Trey Pipkins on the right side. I saw Storm. I already know what Storm is, right? Storm is a decent tackle, right? Has some games that doesn't perform well in and has some other games that does well. But what I saw with Trey Pipkins in the middle to end of the year was much better play. And I really, really was enjoying seeing that kind of performance from him. Man, he was so shaky in the beginning of the season. The preseason games that we saw, he was so shaky, but he got stronger as it went by when he was coming in and using. Trust me, when he was in the games throughout the year for subbing in, I was watching that action, and he really, he had a game for Slater when he was out for that COVID game, and he played so well at that left tackle spot, and I thought he did an admirable job. It was against the Chiefs, I believe, in that game at home, which we ended up losing. But the offense played so well. We were dominating that game, right? And offensively, they were just magnificent. And I thought he did a great job protecting Herbert. And if he can mirror that on the right side, that should be our right tackle going in. Now, am I saying is he the answer? I don't know. He could be. If you're saying no, absolutely not, then you don't know. You don't know because you're not there at the practices. You're not seeing the progression. You're not seeing the additional weight getting added on, or should I even say additional strength, additional football intelligence, additional work, and how well he's progressing, and why the Chargers believe he can do it. Maybe that's why we haven't seen a right tackle signed yet. Right? La'el Collins was out there. There's a number of tackles now. Maybe tomorrow or tonight, this could be a very weak conversation from my end, because we might be signing somebody. But I don't think so. I think it would have happened. I think the signing would have happened for a right tackle spot if they really, really, really wanted to make sure they had one of those right tackles available. And there's been a list, right? There's a list of right tackles. We can go through it right now and give you the list and see what you guys think. If that's the case, I think one would have been signed. There are definitely tackles out there that the Chargers could have picked up this offseason, and they can still pick up, as we're discussing. However, I think there's a plan in place, and who they have in mind, and what price figure they want to give, and what that's going to add up to the roster. That's the big issue, right? That's the impactful issue. So yeah, what do you have left? You have La'el Collins, who just signed up with Cincinnati for 3 years, which would have been a great fixture. I think he would have been a great tackle to put in there and have a man for. I would love to have a 2 or 3 year contract with him. Now you're set at right tackle, hopefully, right? Hopefully, if he's not burned out by 28, I don't think he is. I know he has some diminishing play, but still, I think that's a great signing by Cincinnati. That would have been a great pickup, and then you can still load up in the draft and pick a kid up there. You have the Bills offensive tackle, offensive guard, who plays both, Darrell Williams, which I'm still hoping. I know I get it. He had a lack of a year last year. I really haven't seen his games. I don't know. I'm not an offensive line expert. I haven't had a chance to watch it, even though I'd love to see if we picked him up. I'd love to watch and check out all the games from last year and see what he did. And I think I would have done that for you folks. But that's an intriguing sign if they think there's anything left in his tank, because I think his contract was terminated after a year that they had renewed for him about a year or two in. So yeah, that would be nice to get. So there's a few pieces that still can get picked up in the offseason, or in this free agency season, I should say. We'll see. We'll see, just depending on a lot of times that's the pricing, right? It's a lot of pricing issue. We saw the first few days of free agency and what the numbers were, skyrocketed numbers, right? Maybe they're waiting for the garage sale version. They're saying, hey, I can get this guy, but let me wait for another week or two. Let me see what else is out there. Let me see what the numbers are looking like, and then we can do that. There's a chance that Bosa potentially, there's been a rumor that he could reconfigure his salary and try to give some salary numbers back. And not saying he's going to take a reduction in play, but what they do is they can, instead of giving a $21 million base salary, which he's, I believe, owed this year, he can get some of that as a signing bonus, and the rest he can have a smaller hit to his yearly salary for this year. So no one's given money back. It's just that they restructure where you get free money now, or I should say new money now in your wallet, in your account, and your salary goes down for the year ultimately. However, you're still making your money, yet the team is still able to pick up pieces, right? So that's the key. So if we don't see that happening, which, look, my guess, they're going to pick somebody up. My guess, I think they're still going to pick one of those cats up. I think it's going to happen before the draft. If not, they're going to wait. They're going to see what the draft looks like, right? Really, looking at that position specifically at that right tackle. If it doesn't pan out and they get a guy in, let's say, in the 4th or 5th or 6th, and they don't believe he's a starter yet, and you don't want to leave anybody out there, a less player out there protecting your number one asset, and that's exactly what Justin Herbert is. He is your franchise. I mean, I don't know what else I can say to you. He's going to be the $500 million man, right? This guy in another year, this is his 3rd year going in. After this year, they're probably going to lock him into a $500 million contract. And, we'll switch bases here in a second about that, and you'll tell me, well, he has 2 years left on his contract. He's got the 4th year and a 5th year option that they can exercise, the Chargers can, and they don't have to give all that money, and they can lock him, they can have him for 2 years while they still get other players, and the contract numbers will be low and all that kind of. Did you see Kyler Murray this year? Right now he's pissed off. He wants to get paid and this, that. And I get it. I'd be like, hey, you know what? Just keep playing and we'll get you a contract. You're not done yet. It's only your 4th year. But it's going to happen. These guys outplay their contracts and their rookie contracts. They want more. And you got to keep these guys happy. Do you have the 2-year control? You do. Can you play it out like you're doing now with Derwin James? You can. Or do you say, look, I'm going to cut my losses now. I know this kid needs it. His 4th year is finishing up. I'm not going to let him play on a 5th-year option contract, paying him what? Maybe $30 million at the time. I'm not sure what that number is going to come out to be, 25, 30, depending on, since he's a first-round draft pick and so forth, based on positional. It's different than the franchise tag, obviously. But based on that, you're going to say, no, I'm going to keep my guy happy. I'm going to lock him in right now. I want an 8-year contract, $50 million each. That's $200 million. That's a correction, $400 million, right? With probably $250, $300 guaranteed. I mean, it's going to happen. These outrageous numbers are going to happen. So pretty cool times, man. Pretty cool times. So that's what's going on that end. Let's progress a little bit and go to our off season now. Now we finish up that 2021 campaign. That trade for Khalil Mack, that came out of nowhere. I was in the office. All of a sudden I get the alert. I'm sure like many of you folks. And that trade for Khalil Mack, giving up that 2nd-round draft pick and a later pick next year, that is excellent. And yeah, look, Khalil had a difficult season last year. Only played 7 games, yet he was very productive in those 7 games. Right? He had multiple sacks. Staying healthy, he is just going to be a wrecking ball across the street from Bosa. I mean, they are just going to bring it on both sides. Now he's coming to a team that he is not the guy. He is not the X factor. He's just one of the X factors, right? Now you got Bosa on one side, him on another. Bosa should love this, man. It's like having a number 1 receiver, and you can't wait to get another number 1 receiver. Seriously, a number 1 receiver should pray and just say, please give me something really good next to me on the other side so I don't get the double on me. I don't get a safety sliding up and covering me. I want the one-on-one. Right? Can you imagine? Your stats are going to go sky high. So absolutely, this is a good thing. Khalil Mack, and he just restructured his contract this year. It was like a $17.5 million contract. I believe he took $9 million out of that, restructured that. So now we got a nice number to work with. So these are positives, and we'll break down some of the salary cap issues thanks to our friends at Over the Cap. Right now, I mean, looking at Bosa as the highest paid player, he's just over $21 million. We're looking down the line here. Khalil Mack, after he changed up and restructured that contract, he's at $4 million for the base salary this year. $4 million. That's awesome. So this is good stuff. Now the big signing, right? The first day of free agency, man. That big signing. I am smiling just even talking about it. I don't know if you guys can see me, but J.C. Jackson, the number 1 kid coming out this year of free agency, pretty much was on top of the boards as the free agent to get. Cornerback J.C. Jackson, Mr. Interception. Derwin James was pushing it, man. He was pushing on social media for the Chargers to get this guy. He was, I'm sure, in Telesco's ear, Staley's ear, you name it, man. They watched this guy. There's a really cool picture of him and J.C. Jackson and Williams, I should say, together sitting at the Pro Bowl, right? And, hey, locked him up $82.5 million for 5 years. I get excited. I think it's my money, man. I'm not making any of this money, but 5 years, $82.5 million. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. $16.5 million a year it averages out to, and for a number 1 corner like that, that is good. Well, money spent. He's getting $25 million signing bonus. So his hit this year for us is actually just $3 million as a base contract. But he's making that good money right now. He's got a good set going on for the next 5 years. Now the next thing is the next shoe is going to be Derwin James, right? And I heard Derwin on Sirius just like last week, and man, that guy is just a leader, man. That guy is a leader, because you do it on the field, right? He reminds me of Seau. He really does. He reminds me of Junior Seau a lot because that's what I grew up watching and really admiring as a leader, because the guy did it on the field. It's great to talk about it, but you do it on the field, and that's what Derwin does, right? And you can tell when he's in there, the defense hums better. There's leadership qualities in him, innate qualities, and he has a really good relationship with people. He knows how to communicate well, and it just works. It just works. He's not a standoffish guy. He's not an isolated guy. He makes people around him better. And that's what I really love about Derwin James. And I think he was crucial. They had Tom Telesco on Sirius last week, and he was talking to the guys. And I think it was Bill Polian was interviewing him as well. His protege that Telesco is. And he was talking to Bill Polian, and he had mentioned how Derwin James was such a leader in regards to bringing Jackson on board on this thing and how much he talked about it. They had mentioned that. So, yes, it was crucial, and I think that James made an impact. And James is going to get paid, man. You don't hear any grumblings with Derwin because they've told Derwin. I'm telling you right now, I don't have any inside scoop, but listening to him and listening his dedication to this team, and he knows he's going to get paid. And they even, I think, asked him about the contract issue, and he said, "I'm not worried about it." He goes, "I'm fine. They'll take care of me here. That I know." He's going to get paid, and it's most probably going to be at the my guess again, because I love guessing. This is fun, right? I can be wrong all day; it doesn't matter. My guess is once the draft is over and they got their numbers in and they got all that stuff going on, that's when they do Derwin James before the season starts. That way he's happy and he's taken care of for the next 4 to 5 years here, right? That's what they want to do, and that's cool. That's the way it should be, right? This guy needs to get paid. Yes, he has an injury history. Yes, he had a great year last year. Can we expect more? Absolutely. Should he bring more? For sure. Is he going to do more? Yep. With this team and the way this defense is now being revitalized and the weapons are coming on here, oh, absolutely. You're going to get I think a better version of Derwin James here. So knock on wood, that's the plan. So we talked about Khalil, we talked about J.C. Jackson getting on board, and then some quiet picks here in the I call them picks, but they're just acquisitions here for free agency. Sebastian Joseph Day, SJD. I tell you, he's a Rams guy. He's Brandon Staley's guy from the Rams, so he knows him really well. And I think that was a key part of why he came up here. Really strong defender that is able to play multiple spots for us. And I think he's going to do a great job. 3 years, $24 million, with 15 guaranteed. 27 years old. He'll jump right in there and he'll take Justin Jones' type of spot. He'll play that really well. Austin Johnson is coming in. 2 years, $14 million. Played for the New York Football Giants, and he's a bigger boy. And he'll play. He's not a Linval Joseph size, and I don't think anybody is here yet on this team. However, he can play a number of roles for you as well. He's a run eater. He's a space eater, and he's going to be a run stopper for you. So these guys all come in with a run stop mentality. Obviously, based on what we saw last year with a lack of tackling and lack of scraping off these offensive linemen and getting free to make these holes much smaller. I think you're getting two guys that can actually be very active and play a crucial role as run stoppers, and that's why they paid him to get these cats coming in. So Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson, not sexy names, but yet quality names coming in, and will hopefully do a good part. They did re-sign. Christian Covington comes in and is now a solid player here with us as a sub-package player. He can rotate in with those guys, including Jerry Tillery, who needs to be playing much better, especially against the run. Some of the articles I was reading from The Athletic with Daniel Popper, the beat writer, was mentioning how Tillery becomes more of a pass rusher, or should I say more of a third down specialist coming in for the speed rushes and speed downs rather than his tackling or lack of tackling ability on running downs. We'll see if that happens. We'll see. I just hope he gets better. Quite honestly, I don't like him being just non-multiple or having a sole job of only being a pass rusher per se. You need Jerry Tillery. The size that he has and the playability that he has, he needs to be a multifaceted player. So I'm hoping he increases that this year and he becomes a better player in regards to against the run type of stopping. So that's what we're looking at as well. So great picks on that end. And just recently this last week, Josh Harris, long snapper, 4 years contract has been stabilized with him. So of course, hey, long snappers are such an underrated part of the team, but the head becomes quickly a problem if you have one that doesn't perform well, or in our case was just getting a little bit older, and now it's time to add a new, fresh person that can come in and is actually really strong at what he does. So great job solidifying that. Actually, the whole special teams got solidified. Dustin Hopkins got re-signed as well, so he's on board for a couple of years with us, and I believe his cap number, looking at over the cap right now, cap number just coming in over $1 million on him. So that's a good signage as well. $1.1 million, I believe, for the next 3 years. So that's good to go on that. And just today, as we're speaking, J.K. Scott, who played for a number of years for the Rams since, I believe, 2018. I think it was a fifth-round draft pick, what I read. And last year of 2021, he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good good punter. And I think the biggest thing with him, the stats I was reading, and I haven't really had a chance to do too much with him yet, but really good hang time. He was at the top, I think, top 5, top 6 the last 3-4 years. And I saw a lot of number ones up there, meaning he was the top of the class in regards to hang time for the punts. That's great because, you look at the yardage on punts, right? A lot of times we're looking at that, but sometimes, hey, man, hang time, that's crucial, right? Yeah, you got to get ball placement and you got to get yardage and get tilt the field on that. But it does you no good if you're kicking. These guys are having a head start on a ball and moving 10, 15 yards down the field quickly for their run backs. So this is good. And I'm hoping that works out for them. So special teams is set. The only thing we don't have is the returning game, right? The punt return, which is super crucial, right? Especially for fumbles that can occur if you have a strong, stable punt returner that knows how to catch these balls and knows when to go fair catch versus taking it, knows down and distance in regards to what we're looking at for returnability. If you're at your own 10-yard line or inside your 10-yard line, and weather implications, man, you name it. It's time left in the game. There's so many factors, right? This isn't just just get the ball and go. There's a lot of factors, and the good ones do it well for a reason. So. Hey, maybe Andre Roberts comes back. That's great. I thought he did a good job last year. I saw him run back that touchdown for us. I think it was against the Broncos at one time here last season in the at home at SoFi. So yeah, we'll see what happens on that end. I haven't seen any type of news on that, but as free agency starts winding down, as a draft approaches, I think we'll get some more clarity on that one. And sometimes it'll be just maybe after the draft, like last year. And that's going to be the acquisitions that we've had thus far as of March 21st, 2022. So we talked about the right tackle spot. The guard spot for team construction purposes, I just look at Ode Abushi. Hopefully that's a sign we can get. Hopefully that's another a player we can pick up again this year and re-sign. And I haven't seen any movement yet on that end. And I'm hoping that ACL, it looks good, man, because that's what took him out of the game last year. If you remember, Abushi came out. If my recollection is correct, we were 4-1. And I'm not saying Abushi was the cause of us being 4-1, but I remember very well Justin was looking really comfortable in the pocket at that time. And that is there's no coincidence there that Abushi was there on that right side. And once we lost that, we had some problems. There was some more lackluster performances. So yes, absolutely, I think Abushi should be signed. And I think the other plan is maybe just bringing along Brandon Hymes, last year's 5th round selection, I believe. And if that's the case, great. Have a good plan for him. If you want him to be the starter, okay, I'm fine with that. Just make sure I have somebody behind him ready to go. And a lot of times getting a rookie back there might not be the right way to go. I'd like to have a veteran, especially at guard play and tackle play. You want guys who've played there before. The way this league works is what I've seen from afar is that you build through the draft these things, but when you build through draft, especially for linemen on O-line and D-line, it's not an automatic fill in the gap and go. It doesn't work that way. Very rare to get an offensive lineman like a Rashawn Slater coming in and just playing like a Hall of Famer, man. I'm going to tell you right out, that cat was amazing and is amazing. You don't get that all the time, okay? So you don't get that all the time. So linemen take time to develop. And look at Trey Pipkins. Again, we'll see what happens this year. Make or break this year, right? It's his 4th year. Make or break this year. Let's see how that goes. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking to see how well these guys are performing and how well they develop. So I would like to see Abushi come aboard again. Give him, and the money factor should be pretty low. So that should not be an issue for us to grab. So I'm looking forward to that. Linebacker is our next area of need. Now, the issue with Kazir White is a big one because, look, we'd love to get him re-signed. He was one of our best linebackers, if not the best linebacker last year. Drew Tranquil is phenomenal back there as well. And look, the Chargers defense, quite honestly, play a 4-2-5. Okay, you got 4 down linemen, including your pass rushers, right? You got the 2 inside guys getting relieved as they go through it. You've got the 2 linebackers we'll come back to in a minute. And we got the 5 DBs, right? You got the 5 DBs now with J.C. Jackson on the outside. You've got Asante Samuel on the outside. Correction, we'll bring him in. We'll put Michael Davis on the outside. So now that's your 3 right there. You've got Derwin James and you got Nasir Adderley, right? That's your 5 for the DB side. So the 2 linebackers you're looking at, if Kazir is back, is Drew Tranquil and Kazir White. Now, if Kazir's gone, then you're talking about Kenneth Murray, which I'm going to tell you, man, this has been the most disappointing player on the Chargers. Second straight year. The first year was like, hey, he's new, we're giving him too much, and he's not ready for it. He's thinking too much. He's not reacting as fluid as he should be because we've given him too much to think about as the middle backer. Okay, great. Second year. Well, great, he has injuries, but, we'll make it through, and he's going to be progressing much better. And, man, he did not do well last year. Always a step behind, always not making the right tackles in regards to getting downfield and picking up that running back. He had a dreadful pass interference call. I think it was against the Raiders that last game. It was just dreadful. I'm not enjoying his game. I don't see it. I guess there's tenacity and there's aggressiveness and you love that, but it just does not showcase on Sundays. He's gotten injured a lot, and you just can't help that. That's different. But when you're on the field to perform, I don't see that. I just see him as just another guy right now. So I don't know. You can't count on Kenneth Murray unless he proves it. And I think the Chargers need to go after another linebacker. Is it Wagner that just recently got released from Seattle? Absolutely, it could be. He's a proven guy. 30 years old, right? Older. But I'll take him for a year or two and then build up another linebacker through a draft. I can do that unless he's lost a step, right? And that we don't know yet. That's another concern. Kazir White would be the best way to go. He's I believe he's 26. You pick him up, give him another 2-3 year window here, 3 years, maybe $30 million, maybe 25. I know it's a lot, but that's what you're paying, right? 30 for 25 is what you're probably looking at with him. But it's important. Drew Tranquill's going to come up pretty soon, and he needs to be kept. So again, it's only 2 linebackers we're playing usually at a time, and then we're rotating these guys out. So let's see how that goes. But Kenneth Murray, I got to tell you, has been the most disappointing Charger we've had last year, and I think that's going to be an issue, and I think that's going to be addressed at least in the draft to pick up another linebacker there. Running back is a critical need. Austin Eckler cannot do it by himself, and you cannot beat him up like this. Way too many carries last year. He told you. He came on and he told the media, I'm getting used too much. That's not usually what a player says, but I appreciate his honesty and his candor. Look what happened to Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. Case in point. Look at his size. You cannot beat him up like this. He's a space guy. You want him in space. You want 15 to 20 touches a game, which is a lot of touches, man. 15 to 20 a game times 17, right? That's a lot of touches. And I'm even talking about the postseason. And that's where you want him the most freshest, right? So absolutely, he needs to have a relief squad in there. And Justin Jackson, I like him a lot. I think a lot of Charger fans do. It just can't depend on him because of his injury history, right? Last year, same thing. He had some excellent showcases, and all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. He had that nice 75-yard, I believe it was a huge run he had in one of the Denver game, I think it was, or I forgot which game it was now. It just blew it up. And then, bam, injured. Boom, hamstring, gone. It's like these things are happening way too much, and you just can't count on it right now with Justin Jackson. It's just a difficult piece to have there because, your best ability is your availability. And unfortunately for JJ, it's been tough with him. So that's an issue. Roundtree. Look, Roundtree was picked up last year, and he was supposed to be a big back attack, and he looked good in the preseason, right? I was looking, going, okay, that's what I'm talking about. He was taking that rock, A gap, B gap, popping it through, nice 8 to 10 yard gain. That's what we need. Chain movers, power running. That's what you're looking at, but did not come to fruition during the regular season. Limited numbers, right? Limited number of attempts. Maybe they didn't trust him with the ball as much. I'm not sure what it was, but he just did not showcase and highlight that. So nothing exploded off the screen for you with Roundtree last year. Now, that could be a 1 year in, and, nutrition, development. He's got a lot of wear and tear on for 4 years in college. He's been used a lot. He was a great college player. That also sometimes worries me coming into the NFL. Joshua Kelly is another back that, 4th-round draft pick a couple of years ago, a 3rd year coming in now. He's got relatively inexpensive. He's under $1 million. And I didn't see much happening there either. I'm not sure if Brandon Staley trusts him. I just didn't see enough reps with him last year. Every time I saw him with the ball, he was still doing some good stuff. So I like to see another dedication or some more dedication to Josh Kelly, and at least for training camp purposes, see what we're looking at there and get him some preseason snaps again. Yeah, with Josh Kelly, that's a nice 1-2 punch there to go along with Austin. He just has to pick up the pace on that. And I think that would be another back to keep and to hold on to. I just don't know if he's a number 2 back yet. So that brings me up to the draft, right? The draft would be a good spot to get a nice kid, a nice strong runner. Again, you have Austin. He's a nice pass receiving back. You want that nice strong runner through tackles. You can still do that in the 4th, 5th, even 3rd or 6th round. So that's doable between rounds 3 and 6. You can get a nice running back there. And nothing to be that spectacular, but enough to move the chains, to get you 4 or 5 yards, to have a 4-minute offense where you have to run the ball and you got to convert. And you're not looking at passing 35, 40, 45 times a game. You want a nice 25 to 30 attempts at the most with Justin. And let's get a solid running game going, man. We see it. What we saw with Cleveland last year when we played against them. There's some strong running teams that come in here and just do a hell of a job on the ground, and that keeps the other person's offense away. The more importantly is it keeps your defense fresh, and it keeps your clock moving, and you're going downfield, and you're making some opportunities for field goals and touchdowns, right? So that's key. So running back is definitely in the works. I was hoping, before it happened, Seattle just re-signed Penny. I was hoping that we were able to get Penny. Penny would have been a good pickup. I thought the last few games, the 5-game stretch that he had was spectacular. The kid's been injured a lot, and I think it was worth maybe gambling a year and picking him up. But Seattle did that gamble, and they got him, and I like him. Deontay Foreman was picked up, and I thought that would have been a good back too in regards to what he did last year at Tennessee, coming in for the King, Derrick Henry. So these are good backs to have. They're not big numbers in regards to high price guys, but yet very, very doable in regards to our offense, to be an integral part of that offense. So we're keeping Austin Eckler from being burned out from that and getting more issues with injuries or what have you. So crucial to pick up a running back in the later rounds this year. So that's what I'm looking at for the draft. I really don't see anything else in the free agent market. Cordell Patterson also was re-signed, I should say, back to Atlanta. So the running backs really did get picked up, and I don't think you don't need to overspend on anything. I'd rather have a young, fresh back coming out. You got him for 4 years, and you do what you do on that end. And I think you got a pretty good stable going on here. Just got to make sure that it's going to work for you. Hey, the better the offensive line does, by the way, with the run game, the better your running backs are going to be. So that's a big one as well. Just ask the Shanahan offense. Okay, they can get you any running back you want, man. They're going to churn them up for 1,000 yards if they need to, but they use multiple backs in that system, and it's just a great running system they've got there. A tight end, I think, is also crucial. Now, look, we didn't talk about this very briefly. I might have gone over it, but Gerald Everett, man, that's a great sign. Just on Saturday, I think it was on Sunday, yesterday, they signed him up for 2 years at $12 million. That's a great figure, by the way, $6 million a year for a tight end. And I wanted Gerald Everett last year. And I remember, I was pounding the table. I liked Gerald Everett coming out of the Rams the year prior. I thought he was a great pass receiving tight end. I think he's extremely athletic. He's younger than Cook, so you've got that going for you. And he has some issues with drops. Okay, we've seen it, we've heard it. Drops are going to be critical. I think Gerald Everett can be a star on a team. He really can. And I think he'll be utilized like Parham, like the rest of the guys, going in that red zone area and even through the 20s. I mean, he's a great pass receiving tight end. In regards to tight end, I mean, we'll talk about team construction here in the next few episodes we get into. But again, I think we're setting up something really nicely. I mean, between Everett, Parham, and Trey McKitty, which is your legit blocking tight end, but I like the cat. He's going to be a demon too, coming out of the backfield and catching passes. I thought they really, really underutilized him last year, and I don't know what that's the case in regards to why that was the issue, I should say. Maybe just learning the game in regards to this level, but yeah, he's a big boy who can play really, really well, and I think he'll do a really good job catching and running with the ball too. He's a big back that's very athletic. So I'm excited. But one guy I want them to add, and we'll talk further on this one, is going to be Dulcich from the UCLA Bruins. I thought he's coming out this year, and I think it'll be fun to talk about him on our pre-draft coverage we'll do here in a few weeks, and we'll talk about that as well. And lastly, receiver might be something to look at in the draft. I think that's a speed guy. Even though I like Guyton a lot, I think he does a really good job going down, stretching the field. We don't have field stretchers per se. So getting that top end receiving speed guy is going to be crucial. But hey, I don't care how fast you are. If you can't catch a ball, it's not going to help. So, again, you got those late rounders, you're looking at 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's what you're looking at, right? Looking at some great athlete that can stretch it down, give you that speed, that top end speed to get those safeties coming out and come their way and having to leave their areas of coverage, but being able to capitalize with that catch. So, and those are some of the items we're looking at for our pre-draft coverage coming up shortly. Wow, it was a nice free agency haul. It hasn't stopped yet. I'm sure there's going to be another 1 or 2 picks possibly coming up here next few weeks, maybe if not the next few days. We'll see how those turn out. But the rest of the AFC West have just kept up. We thought it was a Charger treasure trove of selections, but it's not the case. AFC West, Denver Broncos splashing with Russell Wilson trade. That was quite a haul that Seattle picked up with the multiple 1s and 2s. Russell Wilson is not your Denver Broncos quarterback. That's going to be fun to watch. Randy Gregory, the edge rusher from Dallas Cowboys that flipped the script and decided to come to Denver instead of staying on with Dallas. That's going to be a great pickup as well. So the Broncos upgraded, and they got some good receivers there at Denver with Judy, with Tim Patrick, and of course Cortland Sutton. That's going to be fun to watch. That has now become an explosive offense with Russell Wilson, and not just with the Broncos, but with the Chiefs as they pick up Juju Smith-Schuster for 1 year. From coming in from Pittsburgh to be part of that offensive attack. They lost Pringle. I thought Pringle was a good receiver. I was kind of hoping we'd get a chance to sneak out and get Pringle added on this squad, but that didn't happen. But that looks good as well. The Chiefs, I think the Chiefs got hurt most out of all this year, and they really weren't able to make a lot of splash free agency pickups, and I think they needed some as well because they lost some from their offensive side, and that might hurt them coming up here. The Raiders, man, that was just amazing news with Davante Adams for number 1 and number 2 round selection. That's pretty much that's a great trade for the Raiders, man. They just got a heck of a player, and he's going to cost you some money, right? He's going to cost you about $28 a year, but that's the going rate for the number 1 receiver out there, and that's what Davante Adams is. Edge rusher Chandler Jones comes in as well. So that's going to be some nice pickups for these guys, and they're keeping up, and they've gotten good very, very quickly, especially that Derek Carr factor. They underrate this guy a lot, and he's got, there's good and bad with Derek Carr, but I think surrounding him with this much weaponry, I think it's going to be fun to watch this team. I think it's going to be AFC West overall, man. That's just going to be, you've got Herbert, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and now this explosive Raiders offense with Davante Adams. This is a lot. It's quite a haul for what AFC has done, the West specifically. That's going to do it for us this week. Really appreciate the support. We are going to come back with you guys in a couple weeks, and we will do our pre-draft analysis and do our little mock draft and give you 1 through 7 rounds. Even though we lost our second round this year, we got quite a number of picks in the compensatory rounds in 6 and 7. So we'll talk about them. We'll start picking out some players we like. You know me though, I like to put in the not just the players, but really positional rankings of what we're looking for. And I kind of gave you a little taste of that today, but we'll discuss it further. Just wanted to acknowledge a few awesome folks before we leave. Hey, the man behind the glass that makes this all happen. I'm talking about Tyrell Mad Dog Wiggins. And for our music today is provided by Kevin MacLeod for Strength of the Titans and the Ice Giants. You can find Kevin at filmmusic.io. My name is D. Malconia, and this is Extreme Voltage. We'll catch you next time. Take care.